Hey everyone, my name is Paige Roux and I am some chick who shoots on Instagram. I am the training coordinator and firearms instructor for Shooters World in Phoenix, Arizona. And I've been in the gun industry literally my entire life. So the main question in this industry is, what is that firearm for females, or a good introductory firearm for my wife or a woman? It's my least favorite question because any firearm works for any female, whether it's a male or female. I've worked behind gun counters. I have sold so many firearms to new shooters, and then I also instruct plenty of women throughout the year. And the most common question is, what is that? There's some questions that I ask you beforehand. One, have you ever shot before? When was the last time you shot a gun? If never, awesome. Then it is, what do you want to use this firearm for? Is it going to be for home protection, or are you sharing it with someone or a spouse where we have to think about different hand sizes? Or are you going to use it for personal protection and have to carry it on your body? As females, these are things that you have to think about. So when you do a class or you start shooting and you've never shot a gun before, what gun am I going to recommend to you? I start you with the Glock 44. And the reason being is because it's a 22 caliber, and as a female, it's a very overwhelming experience to shoot for the first time. Not only that, but you're at a range, there's more than likely other shooters around you, and I don't know about you guys, but I am the type of person where I want to be perfect at everything or know everything. And with a firearm, it's an intimidating first step or first experience, because you have to think about loading and unloading and holding it properly and all these different steps. And I shut down. And I've seen that in my students so much. So I learned that a Glock 44 with a 22 caliber is the easiest gun to start with. Reason being is because then I can teach you how to load it and how to hold it properly in the stance, and then get used to the sound of a firearm firing. Then you feel more empowered and it's more of a good experience. And I bump you right up to a 9mm. Reason being is because now you're comfortable with operating a firearm. Now let's move you to a 9mm, because yes, you are absolutely capable of shooting a 9mm. Personally, I'll share what I like and what I dislike, but there's a ton of firearms on this table. Every single person is going to be different. My first gun that I shot was a Glock 19. And it's really comfortable. It's great if you are looking for home protection, or you and your spouse or family member are looking for a firearm that works well for you. Think of like a man and a woman needing to shoot the same firearm. I would recommend this one only because it's comfortable to shoot and it can fit in both of your hands. So we have to think about that. For home protection, I also like that it's a 15-round mag capacity. It's a larger firearm and I don't have to worry about concealing it. I want to make sure I have that round capacity. This is one of my favorite go-tos. The Glock 44 is also the same size, just a different caliber, and much lighter when shooting. Then moving to that question of, I say this, where are you looking for home protection? And most of the time women say, yeah, I don't feel comfortable carrying on your body or concealing a firearm. So I say, okay, do you want to learn, or down the road, do you maybe want to carry a firearm? And most of the time they're like, yeah, like I would love to learn that. And I think I would feel empowered to carry a firearm on me with kids who are just out in public. And so then I maybe wouldn't recommend a Glock 19, because again, this is an investment. I would look towards a little bit of a smaller firearm so that you can conceal it. My first firearm was a Glock 43 that I started concealing. This is a Glock 42, which is a 380 caliber. Glock 43 is a 9mm, so it's going to be slightly larger, but I'm just showing you this just so that you have an idea of the size. Disregard the color. Find just a gun and then you can pick whatever color you want. All of my guns are black. But just the Glock 43 is slightly larger than this one. It was really easy to conceal, and it's also thin, so that if I need to conceal it, wherever you decide concealing works for you, it's easier to throw a shirt on and you won't print or show that gun while concealing. So that was one of my favorite firearms. It will hold 6 rounds in the magazine with 1 in the chamber, so 7 total. And when I started getting comfortable with carrying, I was like, okay, I want more round capacity. But as a female, I don't have a lot of room to carry extra magazines and stuff that men do. And so I switched over to the Springfield Hellcat. And the Springfield Hellcat is a very similar size, still very compact. It's gonna be a little thicker, but it holds 11 rounds with one in the chamber, or 13 rounds with a little bit of an extended magazine with one in the chamber, so 14 total. I loved it because of that round capacity, and I'm able to conceal it. Another thing too is that a female or someone can use this for home protection because of that round capacity. I love home protection firearms with a little bit more round capacity. So this kind of was the best of both worlds. Concealing this was really, really easy for me, just a slightly step above the Glock 43. However, it does kick quite a bit. And so holding on to the firearm was a little difficult. I had to alter my grip slightly to make sure that I was really controlling that gun while shooting. So newer shooters, for the recoil, I don't go directly to this. That's my personal experience. I have known people who love the Springfield Hellcat and think that it kicks less than a Glock 43. So that is personal experience. And everyone, like I said, is gonna have a different opinion. You really just have to try all of these firearms to kind of get an idea of what you like. Because what I like, or what your husband or a neighbor is going to like, is gonna be different than what you like. But I carried this one for a while and I loved it. Then I just moved to a Glock 43X. So like I said before, I carried the Glock 43 for a couple years when I first started concealing. And then because of the round capacity, I moved up to the Springfield Hellcat because it carried a lot more rounds. However, the kick, the recoil, and the grip was kind of bugging me as I continued to carry it. I was realizing, okay, I want a little bit of a bigger grip. And then the Glock 43X came out. This one is the Glock 48, which I know a lot of people love because it's gonna have a little bit of a longer barrel, therefore you can control the recoil a little bit more. I personally like the Glock 43X. Doesn't kick, I don't notice a difference between the two, but it might kick slightly more than the 48, but the Glock 43X is going to be right around this area of the frame, basically cut that so the slide is a little bit shorter. This one holds 10 rounds, but there are aftermarket magazines that hold 15 or even 20 rounds for this gun. And I was like, sold. So I started carrying this one a couple weeks ago. I absolutely love it because with the Glock 43X, so that shorter barrel, I'm able to conceal it a lot easier with any of my outfits. So this one is hands down my favorite firearm. I've had a lot of female students who love this firearm, and what's the best of both worlds is that it's slightly smaller than the Glock 19, but if this needs to be a home protection firearm with a husband and a wife, the grip is kind of perfect. It works for larger hands or smaller hands where you're really able to get that nice grip around your firearm, and you're getting the round capacity, and you're getting it small enough where a man or a woman can conceal it. Hands down, this one is my favorite. There's a couple other ones that compare to the firearms I've showed you. So I mentioned the Springfield Hellcat, and then we go into the SIG P365. And this, again, is just opinion and your experience and personal preference. Personally, I like the Springfield Hellcat over the SIG 365. They are very comparable, and there are people who love the 365. They also have an extended version, the XL version, that's gonna have a little bit of a longer grip and a slightly longer barrel. So that is personal preference, which is why I stress personally, find a place where you can try these firearms and test drive them, because it's an investment and you need to know what you like. So between the 365 and the Hellcat, personally, I think that the grip is better on the Hellcat. I feel more comfortable with it. I don't feel as comfortable with the 365, but again, that's personal preference because I know a lot of people who love this firearm. And I feel like it's snappier, has a higher recoil than the Springfield Hellcat, which is why I chose not to carry it. The only time that I will ever recommend a revolver, so something like this, right, like a 38 special or 357 with 38 special ammo. The only time I'll recommend a revolver is if someone is sold on getting a revolver. That is the only time that I'll recommend a revolver. Automatic is really not that difficult to use or function, and once you learn how to use it, you're gonna enjoy this so much more than a revolver. That's my personal preference. I know some people who are sold on revolvers and love them. So again, you gotta try them in order. I want to show you, and that's going to be something with. So this is a HK VP9 SK, and I just want to show you this because with the Glocks that I've showed you, or the 365 or the Hellcat, the frame or the grip is pretty just solid, and there's not a lot of finger groovings. And that's something that you need to look at as well. Some people love them and some people don't, or they don't see a difference. And so when you're holding a firearm, the HK VP9 SK, or just any VP9 line, they have a lot of really nice finger contours, and then the back strap is taken in as well. So it just feels like it was meant for your hand. A lot of women love this feeling because it feels like you can control the gun more. So firearms like the HK VP9, the SK like I just showed you, or the Smith & Wesson M&P is going to have a little bit more contours where it feels more comfortable in your hand. So think about that as well. When women, or in my classes, or just coming to buy a firearm, say what gun should I get? I'm a woman and I want a gun. What works for me? I say any of these guns will work for you. Even this awesome Desert Eagle will work for you. I don't know if you can conceal it, but it can work for you. Popular round, you're gonna have a lot more options with firearms, and you can totally control this, I promise. So another reason why I start with the Glock 44 is so that you can get all the jitters out, learn the tool, know how to use the tool, and then be confident to jump up to a 9mm. Reason why I don't go to 380 calibers, so the Glock 42 is a 380. It's gonna be a much, much smaller firearm. The SIG P938 is a much smaller firearm, but then you go into reliability, round capacity, and availability of firearms. Your options for firearms really diminish with 380 calibers, and it doesn't have that much less of a recoil than a 9mm. So my personal preference is 9mm all day. The availability of firearms, how it caters to every type of shooter with sizes, with what you're trying to use the firearm for, I say 9mm, and you are absolutely able to control that. If you need help finding your firearm, definitely this video, but also you're more than welcome to reach out to Omaha Outdoors. You can reach out to me on Some Chick Who Shoots. You can reach out to Jade and Kayla. We are more than happy to help you because it is a really intimidating first experience. But after that, I promise you, it's so empowering and it's so much fun being in the gun industry. I have grown up in it. My full-time job is to work with women who have never touched a firearm and getting and empowering them to run a gun, to get into competitions, to empower their families, to be empowered to carry a firearm, to shoot a firearm, and to be better than their husbands if they want to. It's so much fun. It's such a good experience, and the community, especially females in this gun industry, is so supportive. So please feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to Omaha Outdoors or Jade or Kayla. If you have any questions deciding which firearms after this video, please feel free to contact us. We'll do virtual classes for you. We will also message you anytime if you have any questions. And if you're in Phoenix, Arizona, please hit me up if you want to do a class or hop into one of my private lessons.